A Cadillac blocked my gate. My wife sat with her lover. Two thugs stepped out. She's with us now. We're here to break your ribs. I smiled. Her choice. Bringing them? Your mistake. They charged. 3 weeks later, I discovered our marriage was a lie from day one. She had a daughter I never knew existed. And the FBI just told me I was never supposed to be a husband. My name is Ryan Mitchell. I'm 42 years old. And until 3 months ago, I thought I had a pretty good life. I've been the chief electrician at Patterson Manufacturing for 17 years. It's honest work, good pay, solid benefits. The kind of job that lets you build a life, buy a house, put your kid through school. I married Celeste 15 years back when I was 27 and she was 22. She was beautiful, ambitious, sharp as a tack. We had our son Jordan 9 years ago, and I thought we had everything figured out. I was wrong. The day everything fell apart started like any other Tuesday. I finished my shift early because we completed a major rewiring project ahead of schedule. I was looking forward to surprising Jordan, maybe taking him out for ice cream before dinner. I pulled onto our street in North Philadelphia just after 4 in the afternoon, already planning what flavor I'd get. That's when I saw it. A sleek black Cadillac Escalade sat right in front of our gate, blocking the driveway like it owned the place. The windows were tinted dark, but I could make out movement inside. My gut twisted. We lived in a decent neighborhood, but you don't park a $100,000 vehicle like that unless you're making a statement. I parked on the street and got out slowly. Before I could reach the gate, 2 men emerged from the Cadillac. They wore expensive suits, the kind that cost more than my monthly mortgage. Both were built like linebackers, all shoulders and cold eyes. They positioned themselves between me and my own front door. "Can I help you?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. The driver's door opened, and she stepped out. Celeste, my wife. She looked at me without a trace of shame or hesitation, like this was the most natural thing in the world. Then he appeared from the passenger side, tall, silver-haired, probably early 40s, wearing a suit that screamed money and power. Sebastian Moretti. I'd heard the name before, some big-shot real estate developer with connections all over the city. "Ryan," Celeste said, her voice cool and composed. "We need to talk." Sebastian walked around the car and stood next to her, placing his hand possessively on the small of her back. The gesture was deliberate, designed to wound. "Your wife is with me now," Sebastian said, his Italian accent slight but unmistakable. His smile was the kind you see on a shark. "We packed her things. I'm here to make sure the transition goes smoothly." I looked at Celeste, searching for something, anything that resembled the woman I'd married. "Celeste, what the hell is this?" "It's exactly what it looks like," she replied, crossing her arms. "I'm leaving, Ryan. I deserve more than this. More than you." One of the thugs, a thick-necked guy with a scar above his eyebrow, stepped forward. "Mr. Moretti wants to make something clear," he said, his voice rough. "She's with us now. We're here to break a few of your ribs if you try anything stupid. Just a little preventive measure." The second thug grinned, flexing his fingers like he was warming up. I felt the rage building, hot and sharp in my chest. But I learned a long time ago, back in my army days before I became an electrician, that rage is only useful if you control it. I let a slow, cold smile spread across my face. "Let me get this straight," I said quietly, looking directly at Sebastian. "If my wife chose to betray everything we built, that's her choice. But you brought these 2 idiots to threaten me in my own house." Sebastian's smile faltered just a fraction. "Insurance, Mitchell. Nothing personal." "Everything's personal," I said. Then I looked at the 2 thugs. "You boys really want to do this?" They didn't wait to answer. The scarred one rushed me first, throwing a wide right hook. I ducked under it easily. 17 years of electrical work had kept my reflexes sharp. I drove my elbow up into his solar plexus, and he folded like a cheap tent, gasping for air. The second thug came at me from the side. I pivoted, caught his wrist mid-swing, twisted hard, and used his own momentum to send him stumbling into the Cadillac's hood with a heavy thud. He slid to the ground, dazed. The whole thing took maybe 10 seconds. Sebastian backed toward the car, his face pale. "Look, there's been a misunderstanding." "No misunderstanding." I cut him off, walking forward. "You came to my house. You threatened me. Bad decision." Celeste finally showed some emotion, panic flashing across her face. "Ryan, stop." "Ryan, please," Celeste said, her voice shaking. "Just let us leave." I looked at her, really looked at her, standing there next to a man who just sent thugs to threaten me. "Where's Jordan?" Her eyes flicked away. "He's with my sister. He's fine. You took my son without telling me." The words came out low and dangerous. "Our son needed stability," she shot back, finding her spine again. "Not this chaos." Sebastian had recovered some of his composure, though he stayed near the car. "Mitchell, let's be civilized about this. Celeste has made her choice. Fighting it won't change anything. Get off my property." I said each word like a nail being hammered. They loaded into the Cadillac, quickly, the two thugs limping as they climbed in. As they pulled away, Celeste didn't look back once. I stood there in my driveway, 17 years of marriage evaporating like steam. I went inside. The house felt wrong immediately. Half the closet was empty. Her laptop was gone from the desk. Pictures of us had been removed from the walls, leaving rectangular shadows on the paint. She'd been planning this, taking things gradually so I wouldn't notice. I called my sister Marie. "I need you to do me a favor," I said when she answered. "Can you come stay with me for a few days?" "Ryan? What's wrong?" "Everything. I'll explain when you get here." The next morning, I showed up to work like normal. What else was I supposed to do? Sit at home and fall apart? Patterson Manufacturing had been my second home for 17 years. I knew every wire, every circuit, every corner of that facility. My supervisor, Tom Hendricks, called me into his office before lunch. He looked uncomfortable, wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ryan, we need to talk," he said, closing the door. "What's going on, Tom?" He shifted in his chair. "Corporate got a call yesterday from Sebastian Moretti's office." My stomach dropped. "And Moretti's a major investor in Patterson. Sits on the board. He's requested that we make some changes. You're firing me." It wasn't a question. Tom looked miserable. "I fought it, Ryan. You know I did. But it came from the top. I'm sorry." I stood up slowly. 17 years, Tom. 17 years I've given this place. I know. It's not right. It's not fair. But my hands are tied. I cleaned out my locker in silence. The guys on the floor knew something was wrong. A few tried to ask questions, but I just shook my head. What could I say? That my wife's new boyfriend was powerful enough to take my livelihood with a phone call? When I got home, I found an envelope in the mailbox. Legal documents. Divorce petition. Celeste had filed 3 days ago, before the confrontation at the gate. She planned every step, but it got worse. A temporary restraining order, claiming I'd been verbally abusive and threatening. Complete lies, but there was in black and white. And buried in the paperwork, the real gut punch. She had emergency temporary custody of Jordan. I wasn't allowed to contact my son without her permission. I sat at my kitchen table, staring at the papers. In 24 hours, I lost my wife, my job, and my son. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered anyway. "Mr. Mitchell." A woman's voice, professional. "This is Detective Sarah Klein with Philadelphia PD. I need to ask you some questions about an incident yesterday involving Sebastian Moretti." "What kind of questions?" "Mr. Moretti has filed a complaint. Assault charges. 2 of his security staff are in the hospital." I laughed, hollow and bitter. "They came to my house to threaten me." "That's not what the report says. Can you come down to the station?" "Do I need a lawyer?" She paused. "That's your right, Mr. Mitchell." I hung up and called the only person I could think of. Grant Stevens. We'd been friends since high school, and he'd gone on to become a defense attorney. "Grant," I said when he picked up. I need help. Grant met me at the police station. He looked sharp in his suit, every inch the successful attorney. We'd grown up in the same rough neighborhood in South Philly, but he'd made it out through law school, while I'd chosen the Army and then electrical work. Don't say anything, Grant instructed as we walked in. Let me handle this. Detective Klein was in her 40s, professional but cold. She led us to an interview room and laid out photos of the two thugs from yesterday. One had a broken rib, the other a concussion. Your client assaulted these men, she said, tapping the photos. Grant didn't blink. These men trespassed on my client's property and threatened him with bodily harm. He defended himself. What are the charges against them? Mr. Moretti has decided not to press charges for the trespassing. How generous, Grant said dryly. Detective, we both know what this is. A man with money and connections trying to intimidate someone who got in his way. Klein's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Mr. Mitchell, I suggest you stay away from Mr. Moretti and Ms. Mitchell. She's still my wife, I said. Not for long, Klein replied. And if you violate that restraining order, you'll be arrested. Outside, Grant pulled me aside. Ryan, I need you to be straight with me. Is there anything about this marriage, anything at all, that could come back to hurt you? Like what? Affairs, financial problems, anything Celeste could use against you. I thought about it. Nothing. I worked, came home, spent time with Jordan. That was my life. Okay, we'll start building your case. But Ryan, you need to prepare yourself. Sebastian Moretti isn't just rich. He's connected. This is going to get worse before it gets better. He was right. That evening, I hired a private investigator named Dennis Cole. He was ex-cop, late 50s, with a reputation for finding things people want hidden. I want to know everything about my wife, I told him. Where she goes, who she sees, how long this has been going on. Dennis called me 3 days later. You're going to want to sit down for this. We met at a diner. He slid a folder across the table. Inside were photos, bank statements, hotel receipts. My hands shook as I went through them. Your wife's been cheating for at least 8 years, Dennis said. Sebastian's just the latest. Before him, there was a lawyer named David Preston. Before that, a doctor, a contractor, a fitness instructor. I found evidence of at least 7 different men. I felt sick. 8 years. Jordan had been 1 year old. There's more, Dennis continued. See this? He pointed to a bank statement. She's been transferring money from your joint account to a private account in her name. Small amounts, a few hundred here and there. Over 8 years, it adds up to about $40,000. She was stealing from me. Looks like it. And check this out. He showed me a property record. This condo in Center City, bought 3 years ago, listed under an LLC, but I traced it back to Celeste. She's been using it as her private apartment. The betrayal went deeper than I'd imagined. Our entire marriage had been a lie. One more thing, Dennis said quietly. Your wife had another child, a daughter. She gave her up for adoption 14 years ago, right before you got married. The room spun. What? The girl's name is Emma Lawson. She's 14, lives with foster parents in Wilmington, Delaware. I contacted the agency. The girl's been asking about her birth mother. I couldn't breathe. Celeste had a daughter she'd never told me about. A daughter who existed before our marriage, hidden away like a shameful secret. Does Celeste know the girl's looking for her? I asked. Don't know, but you might want to reach out. Emma could be an important witness about your wife's character. I left the diner with a folder burning a hole under my arm. That night, I sat in Jordan's empty room and stared at the photos of men I'd never met. Men who'd been with my wife while I'd been at work, providing for our family. Grant called me at 6 in the morning. Ryan, we've got a problem. Judge Thompson is assigned to your custody case. I was still half asleep. So, Thompson plays golf with Sebastian Moretti every Sunday. They're friends. I sat up. Can we get a different judge? I'm filing for recusal, but it takes time. And Ryan, there's something else. I got a call last night. Anonymous. telling me to drop your case. A threat. Implied. Nothing direct enough to report, but the message was clear. This was exactly what Punked 5 warned about. Sebastian had connections everywhere. Judges, cops, people in power. What do? I asked. We go federal. If the local system's compromised, we need to bring in outside authorities. I've got a contact at the FBI who handles public corruption cases. 2 days later, Grant and I met with Special Agent Patricia Rhodes in a federal building downtown. She was sharp-eyed, skeptical, but she listened. What you're describing is serious, Rhodes said after we laid everything out. But we need evidence of actual corruption, not just social connections. What about him getting me fired? I asked. One phone call, and I lost my job. That's not illegal, Mr. Mitchell. Unethical, maybe, but not criminal. Grant leaned forward. What if we could prove that Judge Thompson is taking bribes? Or that Moretti's using his influence to manipulate court cases? Then we'd have something, Rhodes admitted. But that kind of investigation takes months, and you need your son now. She was right. While we built a case, Jordan was stuck with Celeste and Sebastian. That afternoon, I got another shock. An email from a woman named Patricia Lawson, Emma's foster mother. Mr. Mitchell, Emma has been asking about her biological mother. We recently learned that Celeste Mitchell is her birth mother. Emma would like to meet you, if you're willing. I called Grant immediately. Is this legal? Can I meet her without Celeste's permission? Emma's 14. She has a right to know her biological family. And you're not violating any custody order because she's not your legal child. But Ryan, be careful. This could blow up in complicated ways. I drove to Wilmington the next day. The Lawsons lived in a modest house in a quiet neighborhood. Patricia greeted me at the door, cautious but kind. Emma sat in the living room. She had Celeste's eyes, her bone structure, but there was a wariness in her expression that reminded me of myself. Hi, I said, sitting across from her. I'm Ryan. You're married to my birth mother, Emma said. It wasn't a question. I am, or I was. We're getting divorced. Because she cheated on you? I blinked, surprised. How did you know that? I've been researching her. Found some stuff online. She's with some rich guy now, right? Yeah, Sebastian Moretti. Emma looked down at her hands. I want to meet her. Find out why she gave me up. But now I don't know. Emma, I said gently, why did you want to meet me? She met my eyes. Because I want to know if everyone in my biological family was like her. Selfish. A liar. I'm not, I said. And Emma, I need to tell you something. Your mother, she used you. Over the next hour, I explained everything Dennis had uncovered. How Celeste had used Emma as an alibi years ago, claiming she was visiting her sick cousin in Delaware when she was really meeting one of her lovers. Emma had been a convenient excuse. Emma's hands trembled as she processed what I told her. She used me as an excuse to cheat on you. Not just me, I said quietly.